What's going on, everyone? This is Stephen J. Gaither, and you're watching HBCU Game Day, or you're also listening to this audio-wise on the HBCU Game Day podcast. We have a very special treat for you guys. We have I will say, a pioneer, one of the people who are out in the front in the Stomp and Shake movement. She is a cheerleader. I'm not going to say former cheerleader because I feel like that's something that once you were, you always will be. And it's I'm sure just like an athlete, it's in you. So I won't say that. But we have with us today Regan Hales. She is the founder of the National Stomp and Shake Cheerleading Federation, and they've got a great event that's going to be coming up really soon for our folks in North Carolina. We'll get to definitely make sure we talk about that. But I just want to go ahead and bring her on here. We're going to talk today a little bit about her event, as well as her time in Stomp and Shake Cheer and what she hopes to accomplish by her organization. So without any further ado, we are going to bring Miss Hales. Miss Hales, how are you doing?
Hey, Stephen, I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. It's always great to be in the presence of a legend and someone who's doing things at the forefront of doing things. I know you're the CEO and the founder of the National Stomp and Shake Cheerleading Federation. Big honor there. And you also happen to just be a Ram as well, a member of that great cheerleading tradition there in Winston-Salem State University. So. Yeah, how are you feeling? Before we get to that, how are you feeling? Your event is, let everybody know. We're gonna make sure they drop it a couple times.
Oh, yes, come on for this plug. The National Black Cheerleading Championship is happening on April 2nd. I'm super excited about it. We have a phenomenal team. Our board of directors are supporting it. We have a lot of event producers that are also, and also partners that are helping out as well. I mean, we just have a lot of good energy going about it, and we're ready. I mean, Central is hosting us. North Carolina Central is, more specifically, the physical education department will be hosting us, and we're just excited to partner with them on this event. We're just looking forward to it. So we have a lot of energy right now. Hold on, Stephen. I don't think I can hear you.
Hit that mute button. Make sure everybody could hear you. So so now is a really we'll get a little bit closer so they can see the face that we're talking to a little bit better. So you talk about coming to North Carolina, and North Carolina is a place where Stomp and Shake cheerleading is very much so alive and well. A big part of the culture. Talk to us a little bit about your background. I know let everybody know where you're from and kind of what your cheer story was. What brought you to the cheerleading world?
So my cheer story is simple. I love cheerleading since the moment I saw the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Absolutely love them.
Not the Cowboys. I get it, the Cowgirls.
And I'm not necessarily a Cowboys
fan. I got you. I'm just messing with
you. But they were. That's what you saw. That's what you knew. I mean, you knew about them, and they just always had something about them, a presence. And even though when you get to the professional world of cheer, it's more or less dance, it's not really cheerleading any longer. There are some professional teams, but for me, a young age at that point in time, Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, they were the ones. And then also growing up in Raleigh, North Carolina, it's very cheer heavy. It's a very cheer centric world. I didn't really get into Stomp and Shake cheerleading until my senior year at Southeast, where I went to school. And there was North Carolina, I'm sorry, not North Carolina, but St. Aug. St. Aug was down the street. In North Carolina, you have St. Aug, and you also have Shaw that's right there. And so I would go to parades, and I would also see them, see Shaw in parades, maybe an MLK Day parade. But one time specifically, and this was well after the CIAA had left, or this was after the CIAA had left Raleigh. I think they had just went over to Charlotte. I would go to Super Saturday, but I would just say, oh, wow, they look good. But I never really immersed myself into it until my senior year. And I saw St. Aug. They came and helped our JV squad. And so St. Aug was there, and there were two individuals. And I was like, they just hit the floor so hard, just stomp, and they clap, and they just got this swag to them. And I said, oh, what's this? And so I remember we just ran over to them and we're just talking to them, and they were so nice and friendly, but you didn't see the style practiced or performed in our area heavily the way that you see it performed now. And of course, due to social media, it's widespread. But at that time, that one-on-one encounter was just, I'll never forget it. And so I went on to Winston-Salem State University. Had never cheered the style a day in my life. Didn't even know that I was going to one of the top schools, the mothering schools, I would say, for the North Carolina style of Stomp and Shake. And that's no dig and no diss to nobody else. But I just didn't know that that's where I was going. I was walking into history. So many more legends that are still with us today who were like cheering already. And, that there was just this culture, and I was going to an HBCU. It was just so much at one time. And so when I tried out, I always knew wherever I went to school, I was going to try out. And when I made it, I didn't realize that those same two individuals that I saw just a year before at my high school, I mean, they called me, they text me. Facebook was really, really, really popping at that time. So they Facebook messaged me, and they were like, you made the team? Do you know who you're cheering for? And I was like, I don't. And they were like, let us school you. So it was just amazing that is what I walked into, and I worked hard. So that was a little bit about my cheer background leading into Winston-Salem State, cheering there for 4 years. Afterwards, getting into the business side of it, really creating a business side in Stomp and Shake. So if I answered it, that's really what my story has been.
You definitely answered it, and we want to just demonstrate. You know what I mean? We want to let folks know. Now, of course, you started this amazing organization, and everybody knows that. But we'll show you guys. You see the chair on the screen, I'm guessing.
Yes, I do see it. I do see
it. So this is you in the front.
That's me. Woo! I messed up on this part, so I'm sorry, I messed up on this part. So don't show no more.
I got you. We got you saved. And if you talk about it too, when you talk about cheerleading, and you talk about Winston-Salem State University, and then you talk about the era that you were in, you guys were actually a part of that transitional phase where, because for those who don't know, because this is around the country and around the world, CIAA is heavy in Stomp and Shake, right? And it's kind of considered, it is considered, the innovator. So, just talk about, once you finally made the team and realized how big it was. What was your first game? What was your first game that you remember cheering for? Take me back a little bit there too.
Memory lane. So I think my first game, I tried out that fall of 2007. And so again, like I said before, I didn't know what I was getting into. I just knew that I liked it. I liked what I saw. I knew that them girls, guys, they were on it. So I wanted to be a part of that. And so whenever I did try out, I think that was their last year. We were moving from the CIAA. So I didn't walk into the traditional CIAA experience. So we actually ended up going to Raleigh that year, and we competed for the MEAC because we were in the MEAC. So that's what it was. We competed in the MEAC. And that was my freshman, and that was also my sophomore year. I want to say in my junior year as well. So it was more of that traditional style of cheer, not necessarily how we cheered on sideline, but one thing that my coach at the time, who's now my business partner, Shavon Estrada, she was my coach, and she was really, really big about making sure that we brought our style, who we were as Winston-Salem State University, to the floor. We didn't care that we were going against, these major players, these major teams. You're talking about your FAMUs, your Morgan States, like they compete, and they. And so at the time, So we brought it to the table. Um, so in this video, you might even hear commentary, just seeing our style brought to the competitive world. It just really wasn't dismissive, but judges seem to side with us a little bit differently, and we actually came out here. It's like I don't know if we came on second or third, but we did very well that year, very well, um, unexpectedly well. This is
Yeah, no
interesting.
doubt about it. I mean, you guys, definitely is interesting time there. But just talk about some of the things. I know, a lot of nowadays we see a lot of cheers that you guys were actually at the forefront of. You guys are
Mhm.
actually there, created, and some things like that. Even to this day, a lot of things are still copied. What is it that do you, when you look at those videos and you see those clips? What is it that you remember of that time, and just that how that maybe kind of helped you when you were trying to think about how to take this further beyond once your cheer days were over, becoming, starting what you've started.
I think that just looking at it now, just seeing everything that we implemented, and I'll take you back to my senior year or going into my senior year, well, really my junior year at Winston-Salem State. So like I said, we were not in the MEAC. Oh, I'm sorry, we weren't in the CIAA at that time. So by the time we get to my junior year, we were preparing to go back to the CIAA. I was running for Miss Winston-Salem State University and ended up getting it. But my whole campaign that year was about spirit. We would get out there. We knew how hard we would cheer and go crazy, but it was, being on teams, and coaches know this, every 4 years, your team, or I would say it depends on who you are, but there was a time about every 4 years you would run into the cycle. And so have those audience, the people in the audience who are like, listen, I love such and such from 2002. That was my era, and blah, 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 blah. I love the cheerleaders from 2 years ago. Now, that was the best team. And you just run into that, and it doesn't. And I know every HBCU probably experiences this, but we had to build a rapport with our student body at that time. So I felt like it was a need. It was something, it was my duty. It was what I was supposed to do. And that was just help with the rebranding and the representation of our cheerleading program and organization. So I took it upon myself to say, you know what? We're going to do things a little bit different. We're about to go back into the CIAA. We can't even walk in a straight line. We would normally go from the line, up from the, what is that, CE Gaines, all the way to Bowman Gray, and we would have to walk, and we knew we had to walk, but it was like we were a younger team. And at that point in time I was captain, and I'm like, we gotta be right. The CIAA ain't nothing to play with, y'all. We've been in the MEAC, like we got to go back right. So I remember that summer we went hard and we went heavy. We went so hard. And so I introduced not necessarily walking, but making it a thing for us so that we can bond and we can work with each other and we can vibe off of each other whenever we're in that line, just kind of getting ready to go into the game. It's like, when you see a wrestler coming out, you see him, the curtains open and he walking out, and it's that theme song. They got Dreams and Nightmares playing, and it's just a whole situation going on, and it sets the mood, it sets the tone. And I was like, we have to bring that to what we're doing. And so I laugh now whenever I see that it's a thing, like it is a theme. People are building competition categories around your walk. And I was like, I know that I started that. I know that I started that, but I started it because it was something that we lacked. It wasn't just something that we needed to do. It's just something that we had to do so that we could come together. So when I see stuff like that, I love it, because it's like, and I see that along with other cheers that some of my cheer teammates, they made up, and you're seeing it, popular moves, you see it, and it's cheer. How many times have you seen Red Hot or heard Red Hot? Everybody's
Mhm.
high school did that or whatever. So it doesn't make me feel any type of way. I think, give credit where you can give it. And love on the next generation of athleticism, so to speak. So yeah, it doesn't bother me.
Right, right. Yeah. So talk to us about your organization. Talk to us about, how you formed it, how that came about, and leading us into the event that you guys have coming up over the next couple of days, next in the next week.
Gotcha. So the National Stomp and Shake Cheerleading Federation, again, was an organization that was created out of what we just didn't have on the Stomp and Shake side. I mean, you have amazing, and I call them living legends like Dr. Paulette Johnson from Virginia State University. You have a living
Hmm.
legend like Deborah Rivers of Winston-Salem State University. You have so many people who are they have made their mark in this world of Stomp and Shake. They have, and not even trying to, they just did it out of their passion and what they love. And so when I thought about it, I was like, where are the rules and the regulations? Like, what governs us as a unit? Anybody at this moment can come up with a competition, but how come we're not on the same page? How come we're still operating in what seems to be a lack? So after having that conversation so many times, I said, bump it, let me do what we need to do. How do you truly judge these various styles in Stomp and Shake? You look at Virginia State University Woo Woos, and they got this energetic vibe. They bop all the time. I mean, though I loved the Virginia State University Woos, love them. But then you look at Winston-Salem State University, and it stems a lot of like those straight lines and those traditional elements that you have, but they got a little bop with it too. So you have these two styles operating underneath the same umbrella. And then there are some other non-traditional styles that you see as well, equally respected. And you just say, how do they come and they compete and you fairly judge them, whether they're stunt and tumble, non-stunt and tumble? How does that work? So over the past couple of years, or over the next couple of years, I would get a team together, I would organize an organization that we would become the National Stomp and Shake Cheerleading Federation. We would work on judges certifications, coaches certifications, really educate our people, really have a place for unity. um, Even if you have another business and you do camps or you do competitions, we don't have to compete. The role of the federation was to connect. And so I say that often whenever we have new event producer calls or what have you, or anybody new comes to the team, I say, listen, this is not an organization where we're looking to compete with each other. If that is on your mind, you're in the wrong place. This is not for you. And I much rather not do business that way. I only want to do business with people that I can actually connect with. And that's that. Your business model does not mean advancement for the direct style performers and athletes that we do serve, then it's okay. We're good. And so, with all of these great minds that have come to the table, I mean, the amazing board that we have, and we just named a new senior president, Brian Hunter. He's been fantastic. He's been phenomenal in leading us. So, we all came together and we said we need to do a nationally recognized competition. And we don't need to, in Stomp and Shake, you do have some teams that will say, or minority teams that will say, I'm not necessarily Stomp and Shake. I'm more non-traditional, or I'm not non-traditional. I'm Stomp and Shake. We kind of get iffy there. So we said, listen, whether you call yourself Stomp and Shake or not, we see you. We see that we don't necessarily get the recognition on these larger floors that we would love to be able to see. So let's create the opportunity. We don't have to wait for it. Let's create. And so we all put our heads together. We came up with the National Black Cheerleading Championship, and we announced it last year. We said, let's get this thing on the road. We talked our heads off. People looked at us like we were crazy, but here we are a whole year later and it's happening. So that's happening April 2nd, National Black Cheerleading Championship. Come one, come all. It's open for high school, collegiate teams, and also all-star rec teams as well. I think you back on mute.
I like what you said earlier. Thank you for that. I like what you said earlier. Don't wait, create. I think that's like really important, especially in our spaces, because as you say, you look at and you stomping. You did cheerleading and Stomp and Shake cheerleading, and we see that now with social media, back in the day, even when we got there, YouTube was still pretty new. There wasn't, Twitter kind of emerged. There was no TikTok. There was no Instagram. So, we see now just the statistics and the analytics behind cheerleading in particular, and then you get into HBCU cheers, and then you get in Stomp and Shake. It's there. The interest is there. It's palpable. And, I think it's great that you decided to not wait, but to create something to form around it, because if we don't, somebody else will. Someone else that maybe is not as authentic to the culture or doesn't have the depth of it, but they see that opportunity and something that's lacking. So I definitely commend you on that. I know it's not always easy. And so this is the first of what you're hoping to become an annual event, correct?
Absolutely. This will be the first one. It certainly won't be the last one. All together with everybody who's on the team, on the board, and our event producers that we have as well. I mean, we all have well over combined 40 years of experience. So we all know that we've all taken what we do and brought it to the table and said, let's make it happen. We can do this. Why not? Let's all utilize our influence and our passion as well to create this. And not just one time. We're going to see this over and over again, and not just this event. I mean, we have so many other events planned that we're not waiting on any longer. We're making sure that we can do it and making sure that we can do it right. We do believe that in the Stomp and Shake world, give us the best presentation or the best advantage possible, because we deserve that. We work too hard. If you've gone to an HBCU, you see, or more specifically, I'll speak to CIAA teams because that's what I know. But you see how hard your cheer athletes work. They're out there, they go hard. They deserve a space. They deserve a place where they can confidently compete in and feel recognized. And that's really what it's about more than anything else.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, what do you see as the future for Stomp and Shake moving forward? Are you seeing a lot of innovation out there? Are you seeing a lot of and how do you hope to shape? If I'm not asking you a rhetorical question, you already answered, to shape the future
That's
of it.
loaded.
Yeah. Well,
It's loaded. It's loaded.
Yeah.
I like to think that I'm one of the visionaries of Stomp and Shake. And I just call myself that. That's just me saying that because I see so much opportunity. There's so much that hasn't happened yet. If this is the very first, and this is not the first competition, so I don't want to paint that picture that the NBCC is the very first Stomp and Shake competition. That is the furthest thing from the truth. There have been some amazing event producers that have put them on. However, what we plan to do is build on that. We haven't had a tracked, bidded schedule of events where anybody can go across the U.S. and compete and be able to make it to this national platform for Stomp and Shake. So that is in the works. That platform is happening. That you will see that this actually will be the first year that we'll do that with partnering with our event producers to make that happen. There are some other things in the works that I can't talk about legally because we just don't have that. The ink ain't dried on some stuff.
Don't drop the bag. Don't drop the bag for the interview. We'll have to pick it up.
But no, just look out for it and always be willing to, even if you have a little niece or a daughter and they're 4 years old, 5 years old, and they're interested in Stomp and Shake and they're seeing it and they're interested in cheer, whatever it is, push them, support them, and find education yourself. I think the Federation has done a great job at creating a platform where people can get informed. There have been so many coaches, so many athletic directors who reach out and say, hey, I don't know what's going on. This went viral. I want to learn more. And so the Federation is that place where we want to expand that. We want to not keep it a secret to ourselves. That's not what we're doing. We want to provide that opportunity for anybody to get educated so that they can properly support these upcoming teams and the programs that are transitioning into a Stomp and Shake style. So you'll see lots of things pop up. We have some other things in the works. You'll see some galas pop up. There'll be a lot that's going to happen in the very,
People love to dress up. People love to dress up and shine a little bit,
They do.
So yeah, and I think that's great because I know, doing HBCUs and HBCU game day, I know the Division One. It seems like the Division One programs in HBCUs, it seems like they kind of don't do Stomp and Shake quite as much because a lot of times their focus is on some of these national cheer competitions from whatever groups, and um, I'm wondering, I'm hoping that doing something like what you're doing, because it gives structure. It's which is definitely necessary, and it gives a path to where you can have a team that does do primarily or at least partially Stomp and Shake, and it doesn't mean that they can't compete for championships. They can't compete for and they can't bring the school fame, or they can't bring the school acclaim for what they do. I mean, I would always say that the WSSU cheerleaders are probably the biggest enrollment, and one of the biggest enrollment uh, promotions that the school has. I mean, if you look at their YouTube, and what Coach Washington is doing with the program, for sure, getting everything streamlined. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves, and that has impact, and that carries a lot of weight. So I think that the work that you're doing is very important and very necessary. As we continue to, look at what's next for the future of it. We do have a comment that says, "Congratulations on your success, Reagan. How can I support?" So hey, let them know how they can support.
And there are plenty, and thank you for that. I don't know who that was, but thank you so much. There's always ways that you can support. One way that you can support is by coming to the National Black Cheerleading Championship happening on April 2nd. If you can't make it, I
Where can
have
they
it.
get the tickets?
They can get tickets at nbccheer.com.
Okay.
We're also taking sponsorships. We don't have a title sponsor at the moment, and so we probably won't get one until 2024. That is the hope. So any way that you can kind of get us connected and share the story, share this, that would be great. But simply just by showing up and just supporting, hey, spreading it. If you see something that resonates with your soul and you say, hey, I like what they got going on over there, don't be afraid to share it. I think things like that help. Speak positive and positively, let me say that, and also speak light over our cheer athletes. That's another thing that we don't really get a lot off screen. I think it's easy when teams go viral because it's entertaining, but entertaining
Right.
and respect, come on, what is it? So we're not begging anybody for respect. We're going to get that. We're not worried about that. But anytime you hear someone who they come from a background that is more of that traditional style of cheer, or the more traditionally acclaimed style of cheer, I mean, and they're looking at Stomp and Shake and they're calling it things that are just not true. Because I've heard and seen some nasty things about cheer athletes, young cheer athletes. Correct them, correct their tongue. That is their style. Tell them to put some respect on it. So yeah, we're not necessarily looking to be entertaining. We're looking to be respected. And we can also always utilize donations. What those donations do, they help us build more programming. It does help us out with hiring so that we can do better with the structure and continuing on a lot of the things that we've been working on behind the scenes, and also advancing cheer athleticism on the Stomp and Shake side. So thank you, and please do support. We can always use your support.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Thanks again for asking that question, sir. For sure. And I guess you had to know this was coming, or maybe you didn't know it was coming, but you should know now that since you dropped the word respect, that comes with something, right? Um, so
Yes, my favorite,
we'll,
favorite.
we'll give them a little something, uh, a WSSU original. I feel safe in saying.
Luther, very good. Look at them. I know that's right. Yes, Diana. Come on, Tiffany.
That's my
Yes. Is that the right back there? Oh, and Lori Nicole Tyson. Oh, I love Lori Nicole Tyson. She was the one in the front on the left. That was when I saw. Now that I want to take it back really quick. She was my introduction to
Introducing
Winston-Salem
Grammarly's citations
University
feature.
cheerleading. Whew.
Now, who is this
Not
that you're talking?
she's a little bit over, so that's Pinky that's on the left, but I think Lori Nicole Tyson is on the other side of her. So to her left. So you can't see her here. You could see it in another shot. But Lori Nicole Tyson,
Yeah,
that
let's
was
see.
no, she's not
Yeah,
on
'cause
MTV. She wasn't on that squad.
it
She
wasn't
was
that
on the
one. Okay,
squad.
I
Yeah,
got
but
you.
Lori Nicole Tyson, she's literally by far my most favorite cheerleader that Winston-Salem State University has ever seen. She's my favorite. She's like my cheer crush. I love her. I mean, just on and off the mat, just one of the sweetest people, very intentional. And she made me want to be a better person when it comes to cheerleading at Winston specifically, but she's easily one of my favorites. I have a lot of favorites, but she's definitely one of the top faves.
Yeah, that is high praise. That is
Yeah.
high. That is very high praise. So,
I don't
shout
even know
out
if
to her. That's
yeah, I don't even know if she knows that. So newsflash,
well,
yeah,
yeah. We're
she was
we're
definitely
all
my
about
favorite.
Yeah, well, we're all about giving flowers for sure. I know you mentioned Coach Dr. Paulette Walker Johnson. I just had an interview with her that came out, and a lot of people were receptive to that. Yeah, I think it's very important, as you said, not just looking at cheerleading as going viral in entertainment, but what goes beyond it. I know a couple of years back, I did a story on when the WSSU cheerleaders went viral from a video that I did on TikTok, and everyone was in love with their hair. I think it got reposted by Viola Davis and things like that. I made sure that we, went and talked to and did a story about it. I think, again, I'm a sports guy. When I was in school, we were at school at the same time. I mean, I saw the cheerleaders and I knew they got a lot of respect and love and admiration. But I think the older I've gotten and the more I've gotten in doing this, I understand how important it is for those young ladies and young men. They really do put their heart and soul into it. And it's really important that we make sure that we continue to give them a platform, not only to entertain us, but also to give us those stories. As we wrap up here, again, let everybody know about what's going on, where they can get tickets, and how they can stay in contact with you as well.
Okay, so again, National Black Cheerleading Championship is being hosted by the National Stomp and Shake Cheerleading Federation. It's taking place in Durham, North Carolina. It's going to be on the campus of North Carolina Central University. And we are very excited about it. April 2nd, doors open at 10. Event begins at 10:30. Come out and support. We would love to have you there. We know that there's another major event. I'm not going to say their name because I'm not getting paid for that. But I know there's another major event that's happening. And but if you can, please come out and support. If you know anybody who would just love to be able to just step into something that they've never even seen before, encourage them to come to the Leroy T. Walker Recreation the Physical Education and Complex Center. I might have chopped that name up, but that is where we will be. That is the facility that is going to be hosted at on Central's campus, again in Durham, North Carolina, National Black Cheerleading Championship. If you want tickets or just want to simply support, you can find that information at nbccheer.com. Again, that's nbccheer.com. And if you want to follow us on Instagram, that's nbccheer. So that's about the event. We hope to see you there. We're so excited. I just can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be great.
Again, she is Regan Hales. She is the founder of the National Stomp and Shake Cheerleading Federation. And they got a great event coming out in April. So make sure you guys check them out. I'm Stephen J. Gaither. Appreciate everybody for listening. Make sure if you like this type of content that you go ahead and hit that like button and go ahead and hit notifications so that you know the next time that we go live and have a special guest. I don't know if we'll have a guest as special as Regan in a minute, but I'll do my best. I don't know. So once again, thank you very much, Regan, and much success to you and everything that you're doing.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.